You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. It's something on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a new Let's Play series on Khemia. Yes, I am aware that I have played Khemia before and that I have a series on it, but, well, I don't have any saves. None whatsoever. I'm using the same drive I always have for my games, so I don't know. Maybe it got deleted or something. I am not sure, y'all, so we're going to have to do this from the beginning. Apologies in advance, but Khemia has a lot more content now, so I would like to explore some of that. Anyway, alarm changing, we're up, and let's go! I lay back in the cool blackness of my mind, listening to the voices banter. He must be. I can hear him from here. Are you sure it's him that you hear? Pretty sure. Dark bluish fur, cream-colored front, ear tips and muzzle. You just described 500,000 wolves on Ad Astra. Corrective lenses as well. It's nice, a sort of half-meditation that my mindfulness teacher once taught me several years ago. Thoughts can come unbidden to the mind, are not uncommon during meditation, though this time it's quite different. Usually the thoughts don't have a clear purpose and offer little insight unless one delves into implied and likely non-existent meanings. So what's your explanation? That I'm going crazy? It wouldn't be the first time. No, just that you should be careful when trying to reach that far. The mind can often be one massive illusion to its owner, especially concerning non-tangible matters. Now they very much have a purpose, speaking about me. Still, it helps to calm my mind, pull it inward from the outward chaos. It helps me forget the responsibilities that rest upon my shoulders. They mainly rest on my mentor's shoulders, but, in turn, he rests upon mine. His mind, it's not sound. It's been altered. That's a common feature for those like you. I frown, feeling as if these voices are being rather rude now, but I try to avoid the distraction. Focus. Instead, I admire the way I'm able to isolate my mind in a place such as this. For many months afterwards, setting foot within these walls, or even on the campus grounds, would fill me with such dread, I simply could not function properly. Now, I imagine that incident, a sphere of suffering and shock, to be in a different place in time and space, floating in nothingness. Hiwawi. I feel it. I feel my focus falter again, hearing what vaguely sounds Khemian, almost like the word for pain. The altered suffix indicates something less solid, more ethereal. See? He hears me. Do not alert him to our presence. So now you believe me. Besides, he is already alert. He's just ignoring us. Like I said, he's gifted. But fine, you can relax. I'll stop. Focus. Instead, I ponder while my mind might be thinking of pain, and then imagery, visceral and vivid, flashes through my mind's eye. Those events are 3 years behind me now. Not only that, but the point in space in which the riots occurred is billions of kilometers behind me. That small sphere adrift in time and space. A dark void that I shall never return to. And it continues to move away as our galaxy spins through the ever-expanding universe. The halls of the university are only an illusion of a constant space. Rather, we are at a different point in the universe every moment we exist, whether that be at home, school, or on a diplomatic mission to Khemia. Therefore, I am free from that moment, and that place. Oh, that water's good, y'all. Therefore, I am free from that moment, and that place. Now I am in a clean space, and that's true for every moment I exist. That's exactly the kind of space I need to exist in mentally, especially if I want to keep this assignment. The type of assignment I've wanted my whole life. The exact one if I'd known such an opportunity would exist. A sound mind is one of my most important assets. The past is in the past, and yet the framing of the space is constant. The marble, the statues, the lecture halls. These were all here when it happened. They are here now. So is it really clean? Stone does not live, therefore it cannot witness. It cannot be corrupted like the minds of sapients. But is that even true? I realize my meditation is veering off course, but it's easy to be distracted when you're lying on a marble bench and your head is beginning to ache. It follows him. I know. My concentration is broken by the strange, now ominous thoughts, and I sigh, knowing I should send a message about this to my mindfulness instructor. But I won't, because my mission is far too close now, and I doubt uncontrolled thoughts will look good in any briefing to my superiors. I begin the process of grounding, rubbing my paws over the cool, polished marble. Have these marble benches and pillars, the facade of this building, witnessed and absorbed the lives that spoke and moved around them before now? If so, then simply distancing myself from a point in space is useless, as the objects most important to that event continue to exist nearby. The idea of buildings possessing a character or conscience isn't my own. Over a year ago, my instructor in architecture had said that long-lasting structures assume identities more distinct than the people who built them, especially as time. We witnessed it. We saw you bleed because of them. I open my eyes, my fur bristling and my breath hitching before I hold it, listening, but all I hear are maybe leaves blown by the wind outside, an echo of what the voice had sounded like. I'm disturbed by that voice, much different from the first two I had been hearing. More worryingly, the thought had been so loud and clear, I thought I had been spoken by someone, until I opened my eyes and found the room empty. In fact, I pinpointed to the statue right in front of me, the one of the spy, Antonia, crouching on her pedestal. A strange, dark feeling enters my mind as I frown, staring at it. I'd certainly heard something from that direction, like a whisper, and though I try to prevent it, my mind wanders to a more pup-like state. There's no question that this university is filled with unamalgamated spirits, and even in the bright morning light that pours through the windows, Antonia appears eerie to me. Her most famous deed was being an asymptomatic carrier of Lucius fever while a prisoner on Khemia, the outbreak killing hundreds of thousands, a death toll worse for the jackals than any of the battles waged during the war. If any statue is haunted, it is likely hers. As I move to sit up, she seems to follow me with her gaze. Not just her eyes, but her head as well. It's so distinct that I have to... Scipio! Oh, gods! I leapt into the air, stumbling away from the sudden voice and movement. Veterus, why do you shout? Why am I shouting? I consider this to be a perfectly reasonable volume. I suppose my advancement in age only continues, and you must learn to live with it. I rub my chest, looking over at the statue as that strange, dark feeling slowly dissipates. You did not wait for me at the entrance to the forest this morning, thus my journey was rather dull. You find me all that interesting? I banish the disturbed thoughts from my mind for now, turning my back to the statue of Antonia. Heh, well, I do, now that you managed to capture the full attention of the flower jackal over the past few months. He is most interesting. Yet you insult him in the same breath. Of course that was the reason, considering our conversation always turns toward the jackal. He is a jackal and a flower, what of it? He is a Khemian and his name is Neferu. Even Khemians have the boundaries of gender. That jackal seems just as happy to be treated as a woman as he is a man. I bite my tongue, feeling the chasm between our differences in age widen just a bit further. Veterus was once thought of as a leading social progressive back in the days that Amicus's father, Emperor Podes, ruled. Now, with Amicus on the throne, much has changed, and the current emperor is quite popular among wolves in my age demographic. Not so much with Veterus's. As much as I enjoy your conversations on topics such as the latest Khemian fashions and imported amusement tech, I was actually asked by Amicus to discuss a few things with you. I feel a falling feeling in my chest, wondering if I've done something wrong. 2 years ago, Veterus had picked his top 3 students of Khemian history, language, and culture to train and compete to become his assistant and backup for the mission. I had been one of them, and just last week I was officially chosen by both Amicus and Veterus. This despite the fact that I was solidly middling between the other 2 students in our academic marks. Carbo should have been the one to go, able to speak near fluent Khemian, and he always knew every aspect of Khemian history by memory. I had realized that no matter how much I studied, he would always be ahead. My recent, almost desperate attempts to stand out paid off. When I'd been chosen, I was certain it was a dream, and now I wonder if reality's about to catch up with me. It had probably been clear over the past few years that my mind hasn't always been in the present. Let us discuss this in your studies, Scipio. It's so very close by. I nod and follow, trying to keep my expression neutral so as to avoid embarrassment, no matter which way this discussion leads. Ooh, I think that might be new art, actually. Veterus looks over the stacks of books and papers, the bridges of his aged muzzle wrinkling slightly, the graying fur bristling. Honestly, Scipio, how often do I need to tell you that your clutter directly reflects your mind? If you're feeling overwhelmed, cleaning up your workspace is the first step. Ooh, excuse me. I wince, and I can't stop the blush from spreading across my own muzzle. We are very different in this regard. I had been to Veterus's residence on a handful of occasions, and while his study was indeed clean, the rest of it was not. Maybe it's a representation of the one aspect of his life that he has in order, having abandoned his personal life before becoming an instructor. My study, which often doubles as my sleeping quarters after being selected 2 years previously, is one usually reserved for assistant instructors, and it's a bit more than cluttered. And must you always light incense? At least pick a different scent than Olaban. It reminds me of my grandmother. I hadn't been expecting that comment, and being caught completely off guard, I stumbled for words, but I'm saved from having to make up a reason by the Imperial computer assistant. Good day, Scipio. Would you like your usual brunch? No thank... Yes, bring it. You need to begin taking care of yourself more now that you are going to be a diplomat, and that involves eating regularly. Despite Vitorus sounding strangely like my mother for a moment, it immediately sets me at ease, knowing he wouldn't say that if I were being dropped from the mission. And as I see a drone descend from the ceiling with bread and sauce, I feel my appetite return. Now, do you know why you were picked to accompany the mission? I try to think of a reason that won't make me sound too egotistical. My knowledge of Khemia, especially the youth culture there? Vitorus waved his paw. Oh please, Khemian youth culture. Vitorus says the word with twice the emphasis and half the speed as the others. Does not matter. Besides, Carbo knew more than you. I blush even though it's a completely true and fair statement. Well, the only other reason that comes to mind might be my relationship to Neferu. And Brunus. You cultivated casual Khemian friendships with them with very little effort. Of course. I did know that forming some type of relationship with the actual Khemians we have here was important. Over the past year, I've made time to speak to them after each of our meetings, making sure to casually greet them and engage in causerie, which I knew Vitorus and Amicus took notice of. While Carbo usually had his nose in a book, I was talking to real Khemians in a casual and friendly way. I wouldn't say that I know them as well as the few wolves I've considered my friends over the years, but I needed some type of advantage over Carbo. I had felt bad at the time, remembering his expression of confusion and disbelief as he left the Imperial Palace after being dismissed from his current duties. But really, I know his future as a prestigious scholar is almost guaranteed, and at the very least, the stresses of this mission are now over for him. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!